Hi, John. Just so that you're aware, your mic is not muted. It's in the bottom left corner of your screen. Feel free to
It just
unmute whenever you'd
got
like. I
it.
just didn't.
It just go on. I just now saw that. So
Yeah, that's no problem.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I can see that. Okay.
I'm fine now.
Hi,
We're
Karen.
all
Your mic's unmuted, just so you're aware.
sorry about that, David.
That's not a problem. I just wanted to make you aware of it. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Allegheny Clarion Valley School Board Workshop meeting for January 8th, 2024. The AC Valley workshops are conducted virtually, and a link to access the workshop is always posted at the acvsd.org website. During this workshop, I will provide the school board members with information that will help to clarify agenda items. And please remember that the workshops are open for discussion, so feel free to jump in at any time. Just be sure to keep your mic off until you're ready to speak. And at this time, Madam Secretary, could you please conduct the roll call?
Patty Anderson. Carrie Armagost. John Burke.
present.
Brady Fight. Diane Page.
Here.
Jeff Powell.
Here.
Eric Sundling.
Here.
Kelly Terwilliger.
Here.
And Carrie Armagost, are you there?
I'm here. Sorry, Tammy. I was
That's
having
okay.
trouble unmuting this time.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Tammy. Moving down through the agenda, we do not have anybody from the public or presentations this evening. And I'd just like to note that under board concerns, we do have a vacancy on the board, and we did receive one letter today from the Richland Township Clarion County area from CJ Adams. So we had called CJ and told him to show up next Monday, and we'll hopefully be adding another board member and make our committee complete. So with all that being said, we'll dive right into the consent agenda. I'd like to direct your attention to page 6 and 7. We have a number of conferences and field trips that I'll review with you this evening and open it up for any questions. First off, we have Justine White and her Give Club from the high school. They collected coffee donations, and they're heading over to the Meckling Shakely Veterans Center. And the cost of that trip is going to be for a day sub. And the cost of a school van driving over and back, and the business administrators working on that cost for you. Joe Graff's going to take a group of 8 students to the Rocky Grove Fire Hall for a GIEP program that helps to meet the needs of those students within our gifted program. And the cost of that for van registration and the sub is $230 paid for out of the gifted budget. We also have Andrea Stewart. She's working out of the district office virtually on a fundamental of Microsoft Excel workshop. And then the superintendent put in for the annual PARS conference. We budget this each year. We also, if we have extra Title II-A professional development money, we may use that for the cost. But that's the event that taking place at State College. Keep in mind that the PARS lawsuit is still ongoing. We're supposed to get some kind of initial explanation from the committee in January. So I'm sure there'll be lots of information to follow up at this year's conference, just like last year's. In addition, we have Peggy Plowman, high school special education teacher and transition coordinator, as well as Minnie Logue, high school counselor, put in for a career ready transition workshop. That'll be located at intermediate unit 6, and that'll be a cost for the sub for the day. They both work very closely with our students as they transition out of high school and into the workforce, military, or college. In addition to that, we have the PBIS team up at the high school. That's Jennifer Stover, Allie Atwood, April McKinley, Kristen Hurlbrink, Peggy Plowman, and Carla Funfer. They put in a 10-day PBS Coaches Day, and that's a virtual day, and the cost will be for a sub for the day, $166. In addition to that, we have a very active PBIS team. Peggy Plowman also put in for the yearly rewards program, and that's going to be the Avalanche Express up in Meadville. And you can see there's a cost that'll be paid for by the district at $341.18. And then an additional cost of roughly $1,500 will be paid by individual students attending that activity. On page 7, we have one more conference, and this is our special education department at our junior senior high school. They've attended this conference 2 years in a row and finds it to be very valuable. Tracy Hartle, Peggy Plowman, and Jennifer Stover. And the name of this year's conference is PD Making a Difference, Educational Practices That Work. You can see that's just over $3,000. That is part of their budget. We budgeted local money for that last couple of years. In addition to that, I did talk to Dr. Myford from the West 2 program, and we were recently notified of a correction facility training in March. We're collecting information. So depending on the program and the sessions that are being offered, there may be a possibility that we'll be adding that, whether it be for her or me, or maybe even both of us to attend. But that's in State College in March 12th through 14th. And I'm sure there will be lots of learning, but probably more importantly, making connections within that program. So Aaron, you could take us back up to page 1. And are there any questions or clarification needed at this time with those conferences and field trips? Moving down through the consent agenda, item B, we have Hannah Farrington that we'd like to add to the substitute list, pending all her appropriate documentation. Hannah is a wonderful young lady, an AC Valley graduate who went down to BC3 for a nursing certification. So we'd love to have Hannah on our list. I'm going to skip down to letter F. That's Jessica Namelli and the Elementary Art Club. They submitted their annual request to the school board as an art club that's hosted on Wednesdays from 3 to 4:15, January 31st to March 20th. And they'll be holding that up in the elementary art room. Letter G is a request from a prom committee. That's Megan Bashline, Stacy Fox, and the kids. They'd like to use the elementary cafetorium to set up on February 2nd and have a junior high semi-formal snowflake dance for grades 7 through 9 on Saturday, February 3rd. They'll be in there from 1 p.m. to 11 p.m., setting up, hosting the event, and then cleaning up. And then retroactively approving letter H, that's our elementary PTO. They used our cafetorium for a fundraiser pickup. Letter I, I'm happy to report that Eric Rothman would like to remain a volunteer nurse with the school district, a longtime resident, wonderful man, and helps out a lot with our programming. So that's a fantastic motion to approve. And then the next two motions go hand in hand with one another. Brad Wagner is a retired Pennsylvania administrator. He's on our substitute teacher and substitute administrator list. And he'd also like to start a powerlifting program up at the fitness center at the high school. So we're going to add Brad as a volunteer in the weight room, and then also hopefully approve his powerlifting program. He provided us a short summary. It's in your packet, but I'll read it over just briefly. He's going to open up to all boys and girls in grades 7 through 12. He'd like to eventually get it figured out and stagger it because it'll be in the mornings from maybe 9 to noon. So maybe have the junior high kids come first, senior high next. That'll come after he surveys the kids. The primary purpose of the weight club is to introduce proper technique necessary for safe execution of the squat, bench press, and deadlift. And Brad's a lifetime weight trainer, power lifter, and it's really his passion. He hopes that some days it could become a school sanctioned club with a club advisor, and they could do fundraising activities and actually shoot for a powerlifting meet. So I did talk to Brad about this. He's excited to be up at the high school helping out, and hopefully we can consider that for the kids and as well as the programs that they'll benefit. So before I move into finance and purchase, I'll take a pause and ask if there's any need for clarification or if you have any questions. Hearing none, we'll move right into finance and purchase. We will be paying the bills and hearing about Stacy Redding's cafeteria audit next Monday, but I will start on letter H, the budget timeline. This is a budget timeline that I created years ago, and we use it for internal and external processing as part of the audit, and it also keeps the business office moving. Keep in mind that the budget process is year-round. We start working on end of year, the fall of the year previously. We'll be working with the local auditors and have a financial recap. We're having a discussion tonight about Act 1, and there's a motion later on to not raise taxes past the index, and I'll talk a little bit about that, but Andrea has been working on that. The superintendent and business manager will anticipate the governor's budget. Once we hear the numbers and we start finalizing that, we'll start meeting with our internal administrators here at the district and up at the West 2 program. That's the technology technician, school psychologist, special ed director, athletic director, buildings and grounds, and we'll start to prioritize the site-based budget. We'll review the priority list, and on the March 22nd, we'll be finalizing, making any cuts, any additions, and then we'll present the revenues and expenditures to the school board in a PowerPoint presentation on April 8th. And then the preliminary budget will be in front of the board for approval on April 15th. Keep in mind that the school board will have to vote on that preliminary budget on May 13th, because required by law, we have to post it for 30 days. And then we'll meet again June 20th. Hopefully we'll approve that budget and have it submitted to the Pennsylvania Department of Education by June 30th, which is a requirement. In addition to that, under finance and purchase, we have in front of you the approval to continue to use the PA state contracting bidding list, and they include Pepin, CoStars, and U.S. Commodities. We do not use these bid list on every purchase, but theoretically, they've already went out, did the bidding, and have the lowest cost for us. So we do tap into them from time to time. In addition, we have letter J, which is the Act 1 Taxpayer Relief Act that I referred to earlier. Act 1 requires school districts to limit tax increases to the level set by an inflation index unless the tax increase is approved by voters in a referendum or the school district obtains permission from the Department of Ed. So what this motion is this evening at 7.1% of an increase, which is the highest that I've ever seen, is a motion that we do not exceed that index. It's not a motion to approve it at 7.1. We may or may not down the road, but depending on our revenue and expenditures, just want to be very clear that we want to approve this motion next Monday stating that we're not going out for a referendum. If we had a major project or issue, maybe we would, but at this time, we're not making a recommendation. Moving on to letter K, we are approving a $250 cost to send Brady Fight to PSBA International Study Group. That'll be hosted on April 13th through the 20th, and Brady's going to learn lots and bring information back to us. Letter L has to do with the updated fitness center. If you recall, we added several pieces of equipment up there. We had extra elliptical machines and one extra bike. Everything's functioning. They're getting old, but we feel as if they're in condition that they're still usable. So we're making a recommendation to accept sealed bids on the 2 elliptical machines as well as the 1 exercise bike. We'll take that money that comes in and we'll put it right back into the program to help support the kids. Letter M is a motion to approve a donation from Manor CPA LLC in the amount of $100 to the art department for the Thanksgiving card contest, and we thank them greatly. Letter N is a motion to accept a donation from the United Methodist Church and St. John's Lutheran, Embleton Presbyterian Churches, $442.13 for the Backpack for Success program. It's a program we do down at the elementary school. Nurse Daly spearheads the program. She'll use this money to purchase food and send home to some of our most needy families on the weekends and in times of need. In addition to that, we received a $300 donation for the Backpack for Success program from St. Michael's. And again, we thank them, all 3 churches, for the help with their students and keeping them fed and ready to learn. And then finally, we have letter P. It's the copy of the official minutes from the Clarion County Tax Collection Committee meeting. Andrea Stewart, our business administrator, sits on that committee. And you could look through those minutes and she could report out next Monday. I didn't see anything that stands out with them. So before we move into personnel, are there any questions about finance and purchase that I can answer? Letter A is a motion to approve Sydney Rankin as an emergency long-term substitute teacher to fill primary level substitute teaching position and be a day-to-day substitute. So just keep in mind that currently Sydney is a active sub. She's in a long-term subbing position. She does have an emergency certification, which qualifies her to do a long-term stint. We did advertise, and we don't have anybody else on file right now that can fulfill those duties. In addition to the current long-term sub position that she's going to be filling, we have another one opening up later on in the spring. So our recommendation to the AC Valley School Board is to approve Sydney at her step 2 pay and keep her on as a long-term sub for the entire spring. So that could provide us with a little bit of flexibility in between the 2 long-term stints so that she can do actual day-to-day subbing as well as, support some of the remediation programs. And Sydney's been primarily at the elementary school. I know I had a question whether we could use her at the high school or not. I think with her guest teacher certificate, we could. I'm not sure if she'd be interested in subbing at the high school or not. But this could not only help out our program here, but also give us a better idea about supporting our teachers when they're out with an illness or a personal day. We've had several discussions about adding long-term subs. So I think this will be a real good test, and Sydney's a wonderful young educator and will help us out. Letter B is a motion to hire Christy Parks, taking her from a part-time position into a full-time position. It'll be from 3 to 11 during the week. It's a light-duty custodian position, and she'll continue on with her hourly rate of $19.97 per hour. That does lead us into letter C, which means that we have to advertise for her vacancy as well. So we're asking the board to approve that posting. And then on the top of page 3, we'll start off with letter D. That's an updated version of the heavy-duty custodian for the elementary. Mark Milford and myself created a very similar job description years ago for the district-wide heavy-duty position. James Best and I sat down, modified that job description, turned it into our heavy-duty custodian for the elementary position. So we ask that you approve that to provide guidance and support to the new heavy-duty custodian. Letter E, we still have one more applicant to interview, but the one that we did interview prior to this evening, we feel as if it could be a very qualified candidate for the position. So we are optimistic that we will have a name and a starting salary for that position for Monday the 15th. Letter F is a resignation from Leo Marin from the junior high boys program so that he can move into, or he already did move into the varsity program. So letter G coincides with F, and we are making a recommendation to retroactively hire Leo Marin as the JV boys basketball position. And we're working on fulfilling the obligations of the junior high program as well. Leo just stepped in. He's helping out our new varsity coach up at the high school. So we appreciate everything he does for the program. In addition to that, we have in front of you a motion to hire a head varsity girls softball coach. We'll have that information for you on Monday the 15th. I know Dr. Jordan conducted interviews up there, and we just need to make sure that we have everything pulled together, but we will be ready to hire a coach on Monday the 15th. So going back to basketball, we do have a motion in front of you to hire Ian Runyon as the assistant junior high basketball coach under the guidance of Dave Sherman as a temporary head junior high boys basketball coach for the 23-24 season. And we thank Dave greatly for the amount of time and energy he plans to put into the program. Ian's a AC Valley graduate and has not been a head coach. So we're optimistic that Ian will do a good job with the kids, but also learn from Dave Sherman as a head coach and hopefully take over the program as head coach for the 24-25 season. So Dave, being our athletic director and head coach for the junior high boys basketball program, is going to be temporary. And then letter K, we also have a motion in front of you from the athletic committee to advertise to fill a vacancy in the head varsity volleyball coaching position. We're hoping to fill that position with a qualified candidate that has lots of experience with volleyball. Letter L is a motion to approve a long-term nurse substitute. We're still struggling to fill some needs that we have within the district. We have a few nurses that are day-to-day, but we feel as if we're in the need of a long-term nurse sub at this time. Before I get down into the Quest 2 programming, I'd like to stop right there to see if there's any questions or clarification that the school board may need on the items that I've already covered. I know I've covered quite a bit so far.
David, will we not need to change our policy if we consent to hiring Dave Sherman as a temporary coach?
Kelly, the only place that I've been able to locate that is in the job description for the athletic director. It has in there, we modified it years ago, that that person will not be a coach while serving as that role. I mean, we could bring the job description back up and modify it, but we talked with the committee, and we feel as if Dave would do a good job right now, and it's a short-term stint. And I did bring this up with the other school districts in the intermediate unit, and we're the only school that does not permit the athletic director to coach, even though the other schools really like the idea. It's just we're in such a difficult time right now to find coaches that we're going to temporarily put Dave into this position.
Okay, thanks. I just didn't know if we needed to do any policy changes.
No policy changes. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, moving down into the next several items. I had these in front of the school board in December, and then we pulled them off. No, we had them in November and pulled them off because the budget was not approved. The budget has been approved. All of these motions are inside the budget. that we have, and it's a grant coming from the Department of Education to run the West 2 program. And keep in mind that this is going to be a short-term grant. It's anywhere from a year to 2 years long. And I have within that grant not only a 20% wage increase, but also 50% of the salary and benefits associated with all the employees that are supporting that program out there. And believe me, there's been a lot of work that's been going on behind the scenes for most of these employees. So I do highly recommend that the school board approves these motions. We do have a couple more MOAs that I'm going to get to, but for the time being, I've covered all the work that the business administrator did, the accounts payable, superintendent secretary, attendance officer, PIMS liaison, and homeless staff member, central office, school board secretary, school psychologist, and then we also have the superintendent in front of you this evening. Just keep in mind that I've been doing a lot of work with the program, the Department of Education, the Department of Human Services, Bureau of Juvenile Justice, as well as the Rite of Passage program since May of 2023. That's when I first received a phone call and said that they're going to open up the facility. So we've done a lot of work. We based a lot of that work off of the basic education circulars. There's a 3800, 1306, and a 4605 that's all associated with this program. So I've got to know those Becks a lot better. Back when Mid-Atlantic Youth was up there, I knew them, but they've been closed since 2020. So just to cover real briefly what the superintendent's doing up there, since we've already covered all the other people in front of me this evening. That superintendent has to provide leadership and administration and provide overall governance of the program up there, develop and implement policies and procedures in accordance to state regulations and guidelines, collaborate with the authorities and ensure compliance with legal educational standards in the education department, program development and implementation, design, develop, and implement educational programs tailored to meet the needs of the adjudicated youth placed in the facility, worked with teachers and staff to create curriculum, both academic and behavioral aspects, help to support the student management, oversee student enrollment, placement, transition processes, which I believe we're moving in that direction in all aspects of this internally. We continue to have weekly meetings here with the AC Valley staff and Dr. Myford. I'm also working on implementing strategies to help manage student behavior in that program, support staff and address unique needs for adjudicated youth. We're at, I think, 21 students right now, so the program continues to grow. Staff management and training, recruit, train, supervise educational staff, including teachers and other support personnel, provide ongoing professional development to ensure staff members are equipped to work with adjudicated youth. All the staff members up there are SCM certified. They've attended all the training that was provided through Rite of Passage, and they have all their clearances on file. So I feel as if we're on top of the training aspect. Safety and security, collaborate with security personnel to ensure safety and security for the students and staff. I'm working with the Butler State Police right now to get an MOA in place for the program up there, and the leadership from Rite of Passage is working on internal safety and security programming right now. We'll continue to coordinate with the facility protocols, so getting the West 2 teachers to work with the Rite of Passage staff is going very well right now, but there's an ongoing communication that we're working on. As part of the collaboration, we've tried to do our best to foster positive relationships with external agencies, including Juvenile Justice, Department of Human Service, and the Pennsylvania Department of Education. We continue to communicate with the students up there, the staff members, as well as the stakeholders. And just keep in mind that there is an open house up there on January 10th. Data management and reporting. I oversee the data collection and reporting process to track students coming and going out of the program, as well as their successes within. Ensure compliance with reporting requirements. We've done a lot of training with Michelle and Melissa prior to the program up and running. We've worked with Clarion Area School District, as well as review other files. Continue to work on the budget management, develop and manage a budget for this educational facility for not only the startup, but years coming. allocate resources to efficiently support an educational program, continuing to look for improvements, evaluate the effectiveness of the educational program. Like, for example, right now we have the kids on Edgenuity all day, every day. And initially we thought, I thought it'd be a wonderful program, but after meeting with the kids Friday afternoon, it's just too much computer time. So we're working internally and externally up there to see how we can modify that program, keep the Edgenuity program in place, but have more teacher and student interaction for a portion of the lessons to get that authentic feedback from the teachers. So we'll continue to work on the program. And then finally, stay abreast of best practices, trends, and education for adjudicated youth. And I'll continue to advocate for the school district as well as the kids. While up there at the program, I act as an agent of the Board of Education for AC Valley. We manage all the staff and administrators up there, ensure the communication is open. We made all the recommendations to hire to the board, and we'll continue to evaluate their performance. Identify any kind of problems with the school operations and put a resolution into place. Recommend any policy or program decisions to the board that may change as the years progress. And I've been up there quite a bit interacting with the students and staff, so I have a firm handle on the successes and the areas that we need to get better at. There are several areas that we continue to grow. And I attend regular weekly meetings with PD, Rite of Passage, and DHS. And as part of the leadership team, and provide all the professional development. Just keep in mind too that since May, I've been meeting twice a week, at least an hour each time, with those folks that I referenced earlier to come up with the program. So there was a lot of work that the district did and the superintendent's office was part of. And then most importantly, and I won't keep going about it, but the implementation of Chapter 4, which is the academic standards and assessments. And keep in mind that that's to establish a rigorous academic educational program that's tied to the standards and provides quality assessments. That ties into the career and technical education, which I continue to talk to Tracy Wooderson about possibly partnering with them. We align the curriculum with the Edgenuity and the PA state standards. We prepare these students for PSSAs if anybody qualifies, but most importantly, and probably more overly, the Keystone exams. And we align that to, the school code of 1949. And just keep in mind that the overall goal of that program is to acquire knowledge for the skills, develop integrity, process information, think critically, work independently, and collaborate with others as we provide this education for the students. And then in addition to Chapter 4, which is tied into everything that I said, we also have to implement Chapter 15, which is protection of the 504 and handicapped students that are programming out there. And then also Chapter 16, which is special education for gifted students. So there's a whole lot of work that all of these folks are completing on a day-to-day basis. And then also, I'll conclude with the fact that we are working with the association right now on a MOA for both our cyber coordinator and our high school counselor, as well as the support staff technology technicians, because the 4 of them have been working diligently up there as well. There's just a number of items that we're still working on. We met today. We'll continue to meet. Wednesday morning, we have a meeting, and we're hoping that we can get an MOA for those staff members, those 4 staff members in front of you for Monday as well. And if not, we can aim for February. So those are the list of staff members. And I want to be real clear that this wage increase is tied into the grant, paid for by the grant, does not come from local taxpayer money by any means. As a matter of fact, the grant actually is able to save roughly $750,000 or more out of the district budget. And we're very happy to have the grant for this year and potentially next year. With that being said, we're also working on our billing. We've already received some bills back from the home school districts. We'll continue to bill our general education rate for the kids that are up there, and that's roughly $20,000 per year. And we are working with Solicitor Shekel and our business office to come up with a special education billing as well. So once we get that revenue stream going and the grant goes away, then we'll have a much better idea as far as how this program can not only help kids, but also support AC Valley School District as well. And then I'll finish off with one last item and open it back up for discussion. Melissa Morris, our district-wide secretary, we are making a recommendation for her to receive a $500 stipend for sub-calling for the custodians. And we're doing this to help support James Best as he moves into the director position. And there's about half as many sub-custodians as there are teachers in the district. The other secretaries get $1,000 per year, so that's why we came up with $500. I'll stop right there and open it up. Are there any questions or comments or concerns about those items?
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Hey, David Brady here. I do have a question.
Sure.
Per week, how much time is Minnie Logue and Anna Smith spending at the West 2 facility?
Well, that's a good question. I don't think they're spending a whole lot of time up there, but they are spending a portion of their day working with that program. You know, Anna's very involved in the reassessment. She will be going up there to assess a kid. We're hoping to get her up there on Friday morning, but she'll be going up later on this week. I know Minnie Logue has spent a couple half days up there, but she works daily on scheduling because we still continue to get kids moving into the district. And she's been putting a lot of time with Julie Raybuck, the cyber coordinator up there as well. So depending on, you know, if the student has a disability or is a thought to be, Anna's very involved and Minnie's involved in every step of the way.
So if a student has an IEP, though, isn't the psychologist part of that team that determines the correct path and the portfolio for the IEP? Shouldn't they be, you know, meeting with the student face to face?
You know, whenever I agree with you that we do need to, I think the whole team, I've been trying to spend at least a day up there. It's been more like a half a day a week up there, but I think the whole entire team that's in front of you needs to be spending more time up there, Brady, to your point. I agree with you. The psychologist should be up there doing face-to-face IEP meetings. The scheduling of those IEP meetings might not provide us with the ability to send Anna up there all the time, but that is the goal. She is part of the special education team here at AC Valley. Her primary role is to do assessments and help to implement the specialized education program.
Sure. I just have a hard time understanding how she's doing her job adequately if she's not meeting with the students to determine their if they have an IEP in the correct route. Could you have her put together over the past, well, since the facility's been open, how many times she's been visiting the facility, meeting with students up there face to face?
I'm sorry, I missed that last part, Brady. Did you say put together a timeline?
Yeah, if you could just have her put together how many times she's been up there face to face meeting with students, how much time she's put in being there in person since the facility's been open for next Monday, I'd appreciate that.
Sure thing. Thanks, Brady. Anything else? Any other question? Okay, moving down through instructional services, we have back in front of you this evening for compliance reasons only, the health and safety plan. This was a plan put into place back in 21, and it was during the pandemic era. With that being said, the ARP ESSER money that we have and continue to spend out makes a requirement that the school board does have to approve this plan every 6 months. We had it in front of you in July, back again here in January. There's no changes. It's very brief. There's no requirements per se, such as you know, everything that we were into before. The only update that I made was on page 1 under the self-screening, colds, flu, and other disease symptoms. I just put down there that the employees will follow the CDC, DHD, Department of Health requirements associated with isolation and quarantine, and that they contact the school nurse and the superintendent to notify us of any kind of COVID positive test. And just so that you're aware, people are due isolate themselves for the first 5 days, and then if they're feeling okay, they come back into school. And that's what we've been working on. We've had a couple cases of COVID this year, and it seems like everything seems to be going pretty good. We don't have any kind of attendance issues right now or anything like that. But again, the health and safety plan is on file. We'll need to approve it. I'll upload it, and then that'll keep us in compliance with that federal money coming in through ARP ESSER. Any questions on that? Moving down into policy, we do have a number of policies in front of you this evening, and then we'll have more even next month. Just keep in mind that we do have a membership through PSBA, Pennsylvania School Boards Association. We've been a longstanding member. Probably the most important aspect that they provide to us is policy updates. They send these updates through the PNN newsletter, and that's the Pennsylvania School Board weekly news network letter. And it's part of our annual subscription, providing information on current policy issues and newly developed and revised policy guidelines through PSBA. The newsletter provides information about changes in federal and state laws and regulation, court and arbitration decisions, and issues related to school governance, administration, school achievement, and school liability. Policy guides provide PSBA with intended to serve as a basis of drafting policies that meets the needs of local districts. So PSBA notifies us of policy needs and updates that provide us a general policy. I generally sit down, review the policy with the stakeholders, and we make adjustments to it where needed. This evening, we have a number of policies in front of you that are tied into military families. So there's going to be policy 200, 202, 217, and 254 that are impacted by this. It's an interstate compact on educational opportunities for military children. And I support it wholeheartedly and feel as if this will be a good thing. So there are some minor changes that I'll review, but before I get into it, I just want to let you know that the law requires the parents or guardians to provide a copy of the official military orders and proof of intent to move into the district. The parent or guardian can submit a signed contract to buy a home or a signed lease agreement or a statement affirming that their intent to move into the district as a proof of intent. So we're not going to hold up any kind of student moving into the district. We're going to get them in here and get them educated as soon as possible. And then within 45 days, the official military documentation can be submitted to the district. So that's just a real gross overview of why we have these policy changes. Just keep in mind that policy 200, the enrollment of students, that ties into any kind of students that may be experiencing educational stability. So that could be experiencing homelessness, foster care, or other forms of educational instability. And then they added a whole section under section 2, which is children of active duty military. And it pretty much states exactly what I read to you from the initial onset. Policy 202, eligibility of non-resident students, is the fact that we can accept these students moving into the district according to the law. And then they added a section about children of active duty military families. And it's similar to what we had read earlier. And then we also had that yeah, I guess that's it. We just added the additional language that's tied into military families. And that's really the only change that's inside 202. And then we have graduation, that's policy 217. And we just added to it, the district shall provide supports to facilitate the on-time graduation of children of active duty military families in accordance with the Interstate Compact of Educational Opportunities for Military Children, state law and board policy. So again, it's our goal to get these kids in here, get them graduated, and move on with their life. And if we have to work with that homeschool district as they make the transition, we'll do every opportunity that we can. And then there's policy 254, educational opportunity for military children. And they just added a section in there about uniform services. And I'll read the definition. And it says means the U.S. Armed Forces Commissioned Corps of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and the Commissioned Corps of the Public Health Service. So that's in addition to the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Commissioned Corps of the National Public Health Service. So they just added a little section into that. And then finally, today we have in front of you the policy 810, that's transportation. And there's only one minor change to that policy, and that's the ability to put cameras on the stop arms. So Act 19 of 2023 amended the Transportation Vehicle Code to permit school district entities to install and operate a side stop signal arm enforcement system. So we don't have any of them right now, and I'm not sure if or when we will get them, but if any of our contractors feel a need to put a camera on their stop arm with that updated policy, we can do so. And that concludes policy. Just finishing off on page 5, we'll cover most of this whenever we get together face to face next Monday, the 15th. But we did have one letter of correspondence from Allie Pence. She's from Armstrong County Department of Planning, and there was just a plan in Hubby Township that was approved, and it was just one lot. They didn't provide us with a whole lot of other information. We just generally approve those and go from there. And so at this time, that concludes everything that I've covered. Is there anything that the school board needs more information or clarification on before we break for this evening? Okay, well, I appreciate everybody's time tonight, and we'll see you at 6 o'clock Monday, January 15th in the